Now let's talk about panel. Panel controls works as a wrapper for the other HTML or ASP.NET controls. When we say wrapper, means you can keep any HTML or ASP.NET control inside the panel, and you will be able to control that control the output of those HTML or ASP.NET controls using this panel. So for example, here I have kept some content inside this particular panel, and if I want to disable this content, or if I want to make it invisible, I can access this panel control from the server side, and I can make it visible equal to false, or I can add some other controls as well. So let us see. First let me show you that what is the output of the panel control. So here is my panel control, and let me remove all the code behind from here. So now I have removed all the code behind from here, and then if I will run this page, you will see that the text that I have kept inside, let us keep some HTML tag as well. So I make it bold. Now you will notice that when I will run this page, the text inside this panel will be wrapped with the div. See here. Yes. Now you can see that this is panel 1 and this is my panel 1, and whatever text I have written, that has been wrapped. So this panel is basically getting converted into the div with the ID that I had written into the panel, and the text is being written on the, or the content inside the panel is being written on the page. So we can say that in a panel works as a wrapper for any HTML or ASP.NET controls, as well as a plain text. Now let us see how to add controls into this panel from code behind. So in order to add controls from this panel, from the code behind, what we can do is that we can access this panel control from the code behind. For example, here what I have done is that I have dynamically instantiated the label control, and then I have specified text as well as its ID, and then I have used panel1.controls.add. You can see something like this, panel1.controls.add, and you can add the label. For example, LBL, I am adding it here. I am adding this control. Or instead of adding like that, you can also add a control directly by passing that control instantiation with text inside the add method. So you can see that here I am just instantiating the little control, passing the text that or the content that I want to place into the little control in its constructor, and adding that into the panel control. Now when we will run this page, you will see that apart from this text, these controls will also appear into the panel. So let me run this. Let me refresh this page, and now let us examine the code, the source code of this particular browser output. So here is my source code. Now you can see that this content is inside the panel, is basically coming from the ASPX page, and all the rest of the controls that or rest of the content is coming from the code behind code. So you can see that literal control is being written here, this label control is being written here, and then because we are adding a little control as a paragraph, so that is also being written into the panel. So the whole controls or whole content that I had written is being wrapped with the div, because those all controls is being written from the code behind inside the panel control here. Now just now we saw in the last how to is that how to add controls to the panel control dynamically. Now in this how to we are going to see that how to control the width and height of the panel control and control its scrollable behavior. So for example, let me create one label control here. So I'm going to create one label control and I'm going to change all the code behind code from here, and here is my label control. In this label control you can see that I have some text specified here. Let me remove all of them from here. Okay, all other properties. So I have simple text here. Now if I will run this particular page, you will see that I will have all the text appearing into the browser as it is. Okay, into the single line you can see that div panel 2 and all the text is appearing. Now if we want to control its width and height, we can specify width is equal to, for example, 200 and height is equal to maybe 200. Now when we specify the width and height, what will happen is that this particular div or this particular text inside the panel will appear into that width and height. Notice that width is 200 coming, but the height is not coming. Height is basically more than 200. Why? Because the content inside this panel is more. So in order to limit the height, what we can do is that we can write we can set the basically scroll bars equal to auto. When we will set scroll bars property of the panel control to auto, what will happen is automatically this panel control that will sense that the content inside the panel is more than 200 height, then it will give you the scroll bar. Now you can see that the same content is coming to the scroll bar and its height and width is exactly being maintained whatever we had set from the ASPX page. Now one more thing, you notice that the text inside this panel is coming weird. Okay, it is not coming justified or not coming in the center. It is coming as left aligned. So in order to make it justify, what we can do is that we can set one horizontal align property or to justify. Now when we'll set horizontal align property to justify, we'll see that all the content is coming justified. You can see that from left to right to the right of the corner of the panel, whole area is being occupied. Now let's take the property of horizontal align. Now let us make it center. Now when we will make it center, what will happen is the content will be centered align. See here, you can see that now the content is centered align. In the same way there are right or left property as well. If you will not specify any horizontal align property, then by default it will be treated as a left align.